So got people working in the property finishing the internet. I've been waiting for internet for like 10 days, seriously. But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to start just to explain how my background in Airbnb, because I've been doing it for a long time. It was a side hustle of mine. Basically, one day I was check this up. One day I was in my shared office space in the Bronx, actually, where I work with AOC and a bunch of different people, and this guy was there, and I talked to people, and I'm like, "What is your business?" So he told me his business was managing Airbnbs. So I said, "What? What are you talking about?" So he said, "Look, man, I'm the type of guy that I make businesses around what I enjoy. And I enjoy traveling, so I'm going to make a business out of Airbnb." And he was telling me he had one in Grenada, I think Puerto Rico, he had a few in New York. And I was like, "And that's all you do?" And he was like, "Yeah, I quit my job." I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" And then he was like, and I told him, "Look, my grandparents' house was empty." He was like, "Look, in Puerto Rico, you could do it in Puerto Rico. You make money." So I was like, I brought it to my family, my mom, my parents, and since it's a family property, it was a whole thing to get that going, right? So I said, "All right, I'm not gonna do it there," but I had a place in Manhattan that I could do it with, so I started doing it. And I had a bunch of people coming from all over the world. I had artists, I had musicians coming because I got a lot of friends in that industry. And I got a funny story actually about that. So one time I had this young artist who now is huge, over 8 million followers. He's like a Hispanic artist. I won't say his name because the story is pretty funny. But one time, he comes, he's making his first album, and his manager's like, can you stay in my house while he does he does his first album. So I was like, all right. So he's in my house, and like after the first couple days, I start getting complaints from the next door neighbors, and they're like, there's definitely heavy smoking happening, and one of my neighbors had a young kid, and it's weed, so can you please tell them to stop? So I tell the manager, and the manager's like, "No, Mike, they're scared of me. Trust me, they're not gonna." He would not do that. I told him he can't fuck with you. So I was like, all right. Then they complain again. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I gotta go. They're gonna mess up this money. So I went in, and I go to open the door, and they had the chain on. So I'm like, but I smell the weed. Like I almost got high. Opening the door, I almost got high. So I was like, oh man. So I called the manager. He's like, "Nah, Mike, it's not them. It's not them." I'm like, I just opened the door. I smell the weed. I think I'm high. It's definitely them. So he's like, "Nah, Mike." And I'm like, "Look, you gotta get them out. You gotta get them out. I don't care." So I left. And then I was like, "Yo, by tomorrow, they gotta be out. Or you're never gonna be able to rent my place again." So I leave. And like in a half hour, I come right back, and I open the door, and they took off the chain. This guy is hiding under the sheets, like I can't see him. And his friend is there, and his friend is not in the sheets. And I'm like, can you come out so we can have a conversation, because you got to leave. Of course, I'm trying to say all this in Spanish, which I'm very bad at Spanish. So whole thing, they get out. And that was one of towards the end of when Manhattan changed the rules on Airbnb. Airbnb used to be legal. No sabe. So Airbnb, they changed the rules in Manhattan, so you couldn't do it anymore in Manhattan unless you had all these different rules. So I said, all right, you know what? I got to get out this, because I don't want to get a fine, because I definitely was doing it illegally. So I stopped, right? And when I stopped, I always said, damn, I really want to do this again, but I want to do it in a place like my boy was doing it. He had one in Grenada where, he could go and vacation, and he's making money all year, like I was trying to do in Puerto Rico. So that's why when I came out to the Dominican Republic to look, and I was like, yo, this is the time. This is the right one. And once the economy drops, there'll be even better deals than before. So basically, I came out here, but I knew I learned a lot in the years of managing in Manhattan, right? Different types of people. Of course, the artists are the worst, but I have experience doing that. So what I did was I said, all right, all the experience I have, and then I know a lot of people doing it too, and they have experience. So I said, all right, let's put our brains together and figure out a system where we can manage a bunch of these and have people invest in them with us, right? So there's this thing called equity crowdfunding, which I plan on creating a site where you can invest up to whatever you want, actually, and you will own a percentage of the properties and you'll get a percentage of the revenue every month, right? But the thing about Airbnb is you can definitely go and do it yourself. And that's what I'm basically going to try to show people how to do it all themselves. But the problem is when you got to deal with these people, because a hotel is different than a regular, apartment, right? You gotta deal with people every few days versus once every few months, right? So the idea of the management is where I'm going to create some type of system where we help people manage them and buy them. And then I'm going to be working with different people that are in real estate that know how to find properties. And I definitely have a formula. I already know how much the property has to be for us to make the most money. All those things I had to learn and figure it out. And of course, you can learn it too. And I'll try to explain it to you. But the idea of having a vacation property in a place that you like to go to that makes you money because if you like going, other people are going to like going. That to me is like the ideal scenario. And I'm trying to get as many of these as possible. So if you're interested in going for the ride with me and us, definitely DM and all that. I know a bunch of people have been hitting me up, but I got to make a website around this. I haven't because I wanted to get this one going first, but the feedback has been crazy. Mad people hitting me up. So I'm definitely going to have to make that. This water's so warm. Come out to Las Terrenas and see what we're talking about. All right, thank you for watching, and I look forward to partnering with you one day on a property.